Welcome to Smart Business Show, episode 60. Today we're going to talk about productivity methods specifically. We're going to talk about getting things done, or GTD. I'm going to pronounce this word horribly, I'm sure. It's the Zeigarnick effect, open loops, notes, and Pomodoro technique. And all month we're going to be talking about not so much productivity, although that's what most people call it, but I like to call it effectiveness. Because you could very productively answer 300 emails in the day and you would not be generally effective at your job. I certainly wouldn't be considered an effective programmer if at the end of the day I said I answered 300 emails. I would have to program to do that. I wouldn't be considered an effective writer if I didn't write every day, right? So that's why I don't use productivity, and that's why I use effective. If you notice, again, on my site, the category is effective, not productivity. And a lot of people use productivity and they just think I can do more faster, as opposed to doing the few things that you are best at well, which is what effective is, at least to me. So Getting Things Done by David Allen, very, very famous. Lots of people use it. I've been an adherent of it for years now. I probably read the book every other year. There's always just some things that I can refine every year. And it has an idea of open loops, and that is called, again, that word I'm going to butcher, the Zeigarnik effect. And what that means is, or how that's explained is, when you're doing a task and you have an open loop, so something that's kind of in the back of your head that you can't, you gotta put down somewhere. So say I learn I want to read a new book, and this, so you want to research the Zeigarnik effect, which is Zeigarnik, Zeigarnik effect. If you want to look that up or research that later, you need to write it down, because if you don't, what actually happens is somewhere back in your brain, you're still thinking about it, and they equate it to slime in the book Deep Work. They equate to some slime that's kind of on your brain, slowing all the cognitive processes down. And that's the open loops in GTD terminology. That's a really bad thing. I know I've cited this before on my site. One of my best productivity writers, and I hold to this very often, is actually Tom Clancy, where he says, if you didn't write it down, it didn't happen. It's in one of his books that I don't remember at this point. Jack Ryan says, if you didn't write it down, it didn't happen. And so I carry a notebook in my back pocket. I use productivity system, whatever you want. If you want to use OmniFocus for a Mac, or Todoist, or whatever, it doesn't really matter. Use that, and I write down all my loops. Now, it doesn't just stop there, because I do programming. So when I finish a project for the day, I also commit all the code. So using version control, I make sure that version control is tracked wherever your file is, and then I push it up to offsite and I make a single to-do note, right? So I'll say, this is what I was working on. Here's the next 3 things I thought I had to do. So that I am aware when I come back, I come in, I can look at the project, I can tell my version control to say, are there any changes in the files? And it says yes. And I can look at my note right there and say, oh, I need to open that file. So I open that file and get back to it. That way I don't have to keep this open loop of, when I get back to the project, well, where was I again? And I got to spend 10 minutes trying to figure out where it was. I always do that. You need to do that when you finish off a project, when you're closing something down. Another thing I use to keep myself effective all day is Pomodoro technique. And Pomodoro is, I think it's Italian. It means tomato timer. It means tomato. So if you look up tomato timer, that'd be another way, or Pomodoro timer, Pomodoro technique. And what that means is I use a Pomodoro timer. It times me for 25 minutes. At the end of 25 minutes, it dings and says, okay, you can take a break now. And for those 25 minutes, I only do what I should be doing. I don't check my phone. I don't do anything like that. I stay focused for those 25 minutes. And I take the 5 minutes off. And the 5 minutes off, that doesn't mean I just pull out Twitter or whatever. I don't even have that on my phone. As I try. You don't just, again, run off mad at doing whatever you want. I actually sit in this chair behind me, which you can't see, especially if you're on audio. There's a chair behind me. I'll sit in that often. I'll go get a drink. I'll clean up my coffee cup or something like that. The point to that 5-minute break is just to let your mind relax for a second. Mull over what you're doing, because you can't just focus. You shouldn't just focus for hours on end. I actually often find I do. The last 2 Mondays in a row, in fact, I focused for so long and I was at a standing desk and stood with one knee locked all day and was hobbling around on one leg one week and the other leg the other week. So I use the Pomodoro timer a lot to just tell me not to do anything, or to tell me to stop, go walk around for a minute so that I don't injure myself. And those are the big things that I do. I don't keep up with loops. I write everything down, and I use a Pomodoro timer, and that's how I get people that use Pomodoro, 10 Pomodoros every day, 10 Pomodoro cycles, if not more. I hit that today. It's at 2:30 in the afternoon right now. I'm just about to wrap up my day and trying to get ahead on stuff for next week. And I have half an hour so I can record podcasts. But I did 10 Pomodoros before 10 o'clock this morning. And I had 10 focused. And then I've done a call since then. I've done some other things and I'll be leaving pretty soon here. But that's how I keep my day productive in the productive sense. And productive is the right word there. How I keep it, keep myself rolling all day and keep myself focused on the tasks I have at hand. Later on this month, we're going to talk more about how I keep effective, which is, again, the different word, how I stay focused on the things I should be doing. And we'll talk about that again. I actually have that planned for, I think, November this year. We're going to talk all around purpose and all around deep work and effectiveness. We're going to really dig into that. We'll certainly talk about it this month as well. So go to my site, curtismchale.ca. You can sign up there to the email list, sign up on the RSS feed to get notification of posts. And thanks for watching.